Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Starting a new series, Men Are Exiting Society. I believe what I'm going to do is this first video is going to be completely free and it'll be available here on my main channel, and then all the rest will be exclusively available on Patreon and Subscribestar. I'll upload them to both of those places, such that this topic, this sort of topic, it destroys my channel in the eyes of YouTube. I just got a message from YouTube, not a message, but a thing from YouTube flagging one of my videos as being age restricted, which is, for me, is bonkers. So, all of these types of videos talking about men exiting society from now on will be only in this series, and they will only be available exclusively to those people on Patreon and Subscribestar. All of that information is available in the information box. So let's talk about the first video. Student loan debts is now the number one cause of divorce. Now, there are a lot of people who are going to, if you go look this up, they will try and finagle the statistics and the data, and they'll say, "Oh, it's only 13%." No, it's a full 58%, which squarely puts student loan debt as the number one cause of divorce. You have to understand that of the people who are married, a majority of them are going to be younger than 40, or 40 and younger. Now, the women who get the most divorces are 50. In the black community, they're 59. Black community, they really don't get divorced as much as a lot of mainstream media tries to say. So here I'm presenting something like the top 10 reasons surrounding this, right? So I'll put these videos, this entire series, and I will give you not only just information, I'll give you stuff you can do financially to get yourself ahead. I will research this legal stuff and divorce law and stuff like that, and I'll give you general information, not legal information, just general education in the legalities of stuff, which is not meaning I'm your lawyer. I'm a third-year law school student. I do not have a law degree. So let's look at some of the information. Couples with student loan debt are more likely to delay divorce because of the cost. Now, what they're saying is that those with now they're very general in their speech pattern, and here's the facts. 75% of all divorces are initiated by women. Women are now 2/3 the holders of student loan debt, to the tune of $1 trillion in debt just by themselves. Men are on the other hand, have 400 billion. Women, for the most part, almost hold all the debt and student loans. And then there's the second issue to that is repayment of that debt. And what issue is that? They do not have jobs that are equal to repayment of the debt. Now, let's take a look at what happens in a marriage. The number one cause of the divorce over student loans is that the woman lies to the man. And they did a survey, and that's what they revealed, is that the woman lies and said, "Oh no, I'm fine. Oh no, I'm super fine. I have a great job. I'm successful. I'm independent." And then the man marries her and then finds out that in fact she lied. Trust in a marriage is what, number one? Number two? I've never been married. I don't know where it falls on the importance meter, but I'm pretty sure it's up there at number one, right? So these women or these couples then go get a divorce initiated by her, And then she discovers how much a divorce costs. This is over and above whatever she thinks she's going to get from the husband. Because as soon as you get a lawyer, I'm going to go over right now what the fees are involved in a divorce. There's the lawyer fee, document fee, appraisal fee, accountant fee, parenting classes, custody assessment, court fee. And when people say, I'm going to get you to pay for my lawyer, right? That covers, you ready for this? The lawyer fee. It doesn't cover any of those other fees. So you still have to pay. Let's say you actually paid and you were fantastic and you really beat your husband in the divorce, right? You still have to pay all of those other fees yourself. Let's say you actually get a settlement in a divorce. All of those fees then are going to come out of that settlement. Do you see how there's wheels within wheels within wheels? I'm talking to women. The chief purveyor of divorce. You don't get off scot-free. You don't pass go collect $200. That is not what happens. Now, they're saying then, when the women initiate the divorce, then they come to the reality of seeing that divorce is expensive. And it's goo-gobs expensive when you go get a lawyer. So you're going to go get a divorce and take half of your husband's money? You have to get a lawyer. Then all of these fees come roaring at you. And they're saying when these fees come, these women are postponing divorce. Besides paying these costs, you may be on the hook for some of your ex-spouse's student loan debt, which could make your divorce even more expensive. Specifically, this is the case if you live in a community property state, which includes Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin. Quote, if a person applies for that debt while they're married, it's considered community property, says Teachers Harrison, a New Orleans-based family law attorney at Harrison Law Group. Quote, so half the debt is yours, and half the debt belongs to the spouse. It doesn't matter if the loan only has your name on it. So this is something that men should know before getting married, right? Do you belong to a community property state? Does your marriage come under community property law? If so, all of her debt now belongs to you. Now, if that's the case, then she better not go to college after, right? This whole I'm going to marry my high school sweetheart when we're 18 and she's going to go to college after we get married. That then means all of her student loan debt now belongs to you. Now, there's some people who will say, well, she did that on purposes. Now, I'm not going to give my personal opinion on that at all, but that is a point of view. Continuing on, if you get married, for instance, and your spouse takes out $50,000 in student loans to pay for graduate school, you could be forced by the court to split the student loans and pay half of it. Now, I want you to step back for a second and understand what just happened. Let's say the whole point of this was that the household was made better by the one person going to graduate school. That's the theory behind it. But the actuality of it could be that she got married to you, went to graduate school, took out $50,000 in student debt, and then as soon as she graduated, divorced you, and you're settled with $25,000 in debt. You saw zero benefit from her going to graduate school. Zero. Now, I'm not giving you legal advice, but if you were ever in that situation, I would bring that up to your lawyer. Say, hey, the whole theory behind this is that the household was made better by the graduate school and the graduate degree. If she, in fact, divorced you right after graduation or even a year, you saw zero benefit from that, because even a year into it, even with a graduate degree, you're not going to realize the full potential of a salary for a graduate degree in a year, maybe 10 years, right? That's when you're going to start seeing something. According to Harrison, it's possible to create a payment plan with the court, but you may need to pay the full amount at once. That means all of those fees that you accumulated initiating the divorce, depending on the state, depending on the county, depending on the city, you may in fact have to pay all of that all at once. Whatever settlement that you got from your ex-husband will not cover that. I already explained that part, right? Let's take a look. Class of 2017 graduate left school with $39,400 in average student loan debt. With a 10-year repayment term and a 6% interest rate, that's a monthly payment of $437. So it's no surprise that 28% of student loan borrowers with federal loans in 2017 were on income-driven repayment, IDR, plans, according to the College Board. That means that they could not afford to pay out of their pocket $437 a month extra on top of all of their other bills, right? So they had to get an IDR to pay much less. Maybe even something like, I think it's as low as like $10 or something like that, which means you'll never pay it off. These plans make it possible to get a lower monthly payment based on your discretionary income and family size rather than on the original repayment terms. So they'll take into account everything when they're talking about student loan repayments. When you have monthly payments that you can't afford or that are stretching your budget too thin, paying thousands of dollars for a divorce out of pocket can be difficult. And this is where it all comes in again. And guess what? They consider a settlement and a divorce as income. So your income just rose by, let's say you didn't get any money. Let's say instead you saddled your husband, ex-husband, with half of all your debts. That means you got an income of $25,000 for the student loan, $2,000 for the car loan, $50,000 for the house note, any sort of fees and other stuff that you accumulated during the marriage. All of that is now going to be accounted for as income. So then that bumps up your income to what? Something like $100,000? You don't actually make $100,000, but you saw the benefit of $100,000, and the government is going to calculate that as income. Now, I have told you before that within 5 years, most divorced women go broke, right? Also, that there's something like 30% are homeless. That means they lose their house, lose their car, lose their whatever, lose it all, and are homeless. Even with kids, hold on to your hats, even with alimony, even with child support. Homeless, broke and homeless. Why is that? Here, we're telling you what it's all about. You are not only just destroying the family, but now you are now saddled with all of these fees. And if you thought it was such a great deal that your husband gets saddled with all of your loans, half of all of your loans, guess what? That that half of your loans is now all counted as income when we're doing accounting for you. I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm trying to explain to you what is going on, how women are being used. And a lot of this stuff, depending on the bank that holds some of your loans, they might come due immediately. If any of y'all have any experience in real estate, let's say you work out a deal where somebody assumes a loan over a house, the bank can call you up tomorrow and say, oh, hey, according to this fine print in our loan, if you have anybody assume the loan, we can call the loan due immediately in full. Oh, you can't pay $200,000 tomorrow? Guess what? We get that house. We get your $500,000 house. We get your $1 million house. Guess what? If you realize a settlement from a divorce from a man and the state deems it as income, they can call all of your loans due immediately. Got to read the fine print. Let's continue on. Based on our survey, 58% of student loan borrowers took out more debt to cover the cost of their divorce versus 43% of people without student debt. What's more, 23% of student loan borrowers borrowed $10,000 or more for their divorce, and 10% took out $30,000 or more in loans just to cover the divorce. These are women. These are women. So not only do you the state is saying, oh, that's income. You're taking out more debt to pay off the divorce. This is what's waiting for you in a divorce. A lot of people have convinced women that getting divorced is so easy and so quick, and oh no. Student loan borrowers are more likely to delay their divorce because of the cost associated with an annulment. Of the people we surveyed, 35% of respondents with student loan debt had delayed the preceding costs because of costs, while only 24% of people without student loans did so. But delaying divorce can come with its own costs. Quote, "People's whose situation can change," said Harrison. "There are a lot of different factors that come into place. Things may change financially for you where things get worse, and if you have gotten some assistance, you could have gotten a divorce when you wanted it. And to avoid this problem from the get-go, Harrison recommends getting a prenuptial agreement." Who's the prenuptial agreement going to help? Who do you think Harrison, a lawyer, is speaking for? Do you think he's speaking for women? Or do you think he's speaking for men? Understand that women bring most of the divorces, right? But here, now, since Obama, women 40 and under make more money than men, regardless of what you hear on TV. And a lot of times, the whole point of the woman getting a divorce is that she made more money than the man, and that's why they're getting divorced, right? So, in a court of law, when you go to family court and get a divorce and you make more money, you pay all of the costs. You, the woman who makes more money than the man that you can't stand, and that's why you're getting a divorce, because he doesn't make as much money as you, and all of a sudden you're traditional, you are now going to be saddled with the cost of the divorce. And guess what? Lawyers have seen the writing on the wall. It used to be a divorce lawyer 100% would represent women. That has switched drastically. Now, in a divorce case, lawyers are now representing men. And I don't mean that lawyers didn't represent men before in divorce cases. It was that before, although the husband had a lawyer in the divorce, the two lawyers colluded with each other to take his money, and so that he would lose all the money and they would get paid out of his pocket because he made all the money. Guess what? Now, all's fair in love and war. Now they're siding with the husband to get the money from the wife, who initiated the divorce in the first place. So when he's recommending a prenuptial agreement, for the most part, he's talking to men. Because for the most part, women don't start out with money. Men start out with money. Men start out with ideas. Men start out with intellectual property, right? For the most part. Not all the time, but for the most part, men have something to lose. So, when we discuss prenuptial agreements, we're talking to men, about men, and advising men, right? I am not giving you legal advice on this. Now, here's some other potential issues that could come up in the divorce. New and appreciated assets. Any asset that you accumulate before you file for a divorce can still be considered marital property. Alimony. If you're going to be on the hook for alimony, the amount and duration of the monetary support are partially based on the length of your marriage. Emotional costs. Nobody wins in a divorce, and delaying the end of this tumultuous relationship can be hard on you and your spouse. If children are involved, delaying the inevitable can also be hard on them. Moving on. Waiting to get divorced can make it difficult to move on. In fact, if you start a new relationship or move out before filing for a divorce, that decision could be used against you, especially if it comes to a custody battle. And I have a whole video talking about women losing custody now because of the reputation of those who have come before you. I'm talking to women about women. Because women have lied, have falsely accused their husbands, now the courts are very sided on the male as far as custody. Everything is changing. Custody battles are now shifting to go in favor of men. You'll be able to present studies. You'll be able to present facts in court as to how the wife acted, how she acted towards you, how she acted towards the children. And in a lot of cases, it's siding with the men. I know a lot of older men were still operating under the old system where it was against men. Now the winds of change are shifting towards men, simply because the court has become burned and burned and burned. More than a third of student loan borrowers claim that debt and other money factors contributed to their divorce, whereas only 23% of divorces with student loans claim the same reason. In fact, 13% of divorces blame student loans specifically for ending their marriage. Let me reiterate that. Let me say that in plain English. Of those people who got a divorce with a student loan, 33% said it was the student loan that caused our money and other issues caused our divorce. And 13% specifically said student loans caused our divorce. So there was the general term of money caused our divorce, and then there was the very specific student loans caused our divorce. Versus other people who did not have a student loan, 80% said no, it had nothing to do with money at all. Harrison sees how student loans could make other problems worse, but she didn't see them as the primary reason for someone wanting to leave a marriage. I think she's being hopeful. She's just a lawyer. She's not a psychologist or anything like that. Quote, usually there's some relationship stuff that's going on, and then on top of that, they start to complain about the debt, she said. I don't think student loan debt would be the driving factor, but it's definitely a secondary factor. Now, she said the money problems of any kind can make for a rough marriage, and if you have oppressive student loan debts, the financial pressure can become unbearable. Large debt balances and monthly payments can make it difficult to buy a home, save for retirement, or make it from paycheck to paycheck. Let me tell you, a lot of issues, when we talk about money issues in a marriage, a lot of cases are that the woman who is now a new adult, a newlywed, she's in control of her own life. She's not in her home, right, with her parents to take care of her. She is free and able to spend her money as much as she possibly can. It doesn't hit home because we don't teach this in school. We don't teach this anywhere. I don't think a lot of parents teach this. And I believe that it was just a way of life before that your parents, everybody that I'm talking to, your parents just knew that when you got married, that you took care of the household, it was budgeting was a part of American life back in the day. Now you have advertisements and TV shows and movies of people just spending money like water. And so then that becomes ingrained in the society. And for whatever reason, women have taken this to heart. And a lot of times in a marriage, a woman will spend all the money. And then on top of that, she has student loans. And when that bill comes due, it causes all sorts of issues in the marriage. So with the lawyer saying, I don't think that it's student loans. Well, no, it's not student loans. It's the whole habit of the woman pay. Now, when I say the woman, I mean in general. In general, women have a problem with money. It is so ingrained that advertisers target women. And this is why the whole women's movement is what it is. Because women are out of control consumers. You don't call men consumers, not really. Because men only buy when they have a reason to buy. This is why malls are now woman-oriented, right? Shopping centers now are woman-oriented. Even grocery stores now woman-oriented. Now there's aspects of all of that financial stuff that are kid-oriented, but the only thing that's kid-oriented is putting the kid stuff at a lower level closer to the ground. That's it. They don't build a whole mall surrounded based on kids. Now they'll make the tour story, like here in Vegas, they have a whole 2-story toy store, and that's it. That's all they cater to. So they make it as big and as posh as they possibly can. Now, another survey we did about student loans and relationships found other ways student loan debts can harm a marriage. 36% of student loan borrowers report having lied to a partner about money. Roughly a third of respondents claimed a decreased sex drive because of their student loans. Many student loan borrowers have delayed big relationship steps because of their debt, including starting a family and taking their first romantic getaway. While student loan debt isn't guaranteed to cause problems in a marriage, it can be a concern. Now, this is all a part of the series, Men Are Exiting Society. I just wanted to give everybody an actual concrete thing of what's going on. And this just happened on my desk. Student debt is the number one cause of divorce. Now, when I say it's the number one cause, I mean it has the most percentage points behind it. A close second is infidelity. Third is something like a revenge or something, or anger or something like that. And in the fourth place is money issues. So money issues only comes up when it's involving people who do not have student loans in the first place. It's fourth on the list. Because so many of those people who are married are younger, student loans itself is the number one issue in divorce. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and I'm going through a lot of trouble. I am $250 in debt. That means that 25 of you have to give me $10, or something like 10 of you have to give me $20, or somebody can just give me $250, and I'll be done with that. I have a really big announcement for all of you all who would like to invest in something. I have a really big announcement. I'll do a whole Shark Tank video just about that. Today I had a very big scare. I have not, because of this money issue, I've been highly stressed. I don't think people understand what I'm going through. I'm getting letters that say, we're going to cut off your power. You're going to be evicted. And yes, $300 takes care of all of it. And for those who say, oh, you're always asking for money. No, I'm always asking for money to get ahead in the channel. This is something entirely different. This is something that I'm afraid could stop the channel altogether, not get ahead with the channel. But today I had a very big scare. I passed out, and then I woke up and I couldn't feel my face. I have high blood pressure and stage 2 heart failure. I take my medicine off and on simply because when I take it precisely every day, on time every day, most of my day is spent with me passed out completely. It is too strong, and I fear that lately it's not actually working. It's not lowering the blood pressure. I went to a brand new doctor, and the first thing they said is, you have high blood pressure. And I said, yes. Are you on medication? Yes. And that's all that they said. So this is what's been going on with me. In December, I was going through all of this, and this is why I was making a video only once a week, or even once every 2 weeks, when I should have been making it every day. I know that's not your fault, but this is where we are now. I want to thank a lot of you. I don't have your names. I do want to thank a lot of you for contributing already. I thank you so much. That alleviates some of the stress. But I have this stress, then the blood pressure goes up, and then I have even more stress because the blood pressure, me worrying about the blood pressure.